Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our phones were going crazy, and thank you to our producers for fielding those calls. Congratulations to Firoza on getting that voucher from Pizza del Forno. I look forward to seeing you there. Enjoy the time out with your family. But we've got another 500 Rand voucher that we will definitely be giving to another caller. You just need to call in. Our producers will take your call. The first caller that calls in will win another 500 Rand voucher to Pizza del Forno. And like I said, it's fabulous food. So enjoy it, call in, and let's see who wins this one. Now in my studio, we've chatted to two fabulous ladies who've taken us through doulas, midwifery, another process of getting into parenthood. And now we're talking to another lady who builds communities, who builds families, Aishah Bibi Dimpho. Assalamu alaikum and welcome.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
We caught her off guard. She was planning to do this much later, and we decided now was the time, and there's a time for everything. So Allah has planned this.
Yeah, Allah's planned this, yeah.
Aishah, you are one of the founders of Nyota Collections. Tell us what that group is about.
Nyota Collections, it's been a very long journey because it didn't start off as this. It was more of a clothing brand.
Yes.
Because that's how it started. But amongst that, I found, and as much as I love selling and everything, I love community work. So I wanted something that would involve more of the community more than that. So then we decided to have this collections. It was firstly Nyota Trading and Projects, and then I checked that out, and it was Nyota Collections, which included more of the events and the social enterprise part of it.
Exactly, because for me, I know that you mentioned the business is one aspect of it, but in terms of what you've done for development of community, that's come out very strongly, because I always see your pictures going up. I see posts about you doing community development, bringing information into the community. Why did you feel there was a strong need to move from that? Because for many people, business is business and business is important. But for you, doing your social responsibility has played a big part in that. Why the need to give back so much?
I come from a family of strong women that are so firm believers of community development. So it's in me. No matter how much I push into something else, I always have to reroute and go back home. I was like, okay, this is what fulfills me. And then obviously I do need the money, but sometimes that doesn't fulfill you as much. But working away and having somebody feel you've done something for them. But half the time I don't realize this. That's why I'm like so shocked when you guys called me or when people tag me or say certain things, because with me it's what I do. It just comes naturally, and I'm just doing it as I go. There's no plan in what happens. I just sit and like, oh, okay, tomorrow I'm going to do this. Or I'm going to collaborate with somebody else, and which collaborations have gotten Nyota Collections this far.
But I think that's what's amazing, and that's what stands out so much, is that it's not a biased choice in developing yourself or your company. It's just about giving back to others, and that for me stands out all the time. I know I've spoken to you briefly on the phone a few times about work that you were doing, people that you were chatting to, what information you wanted to bring back into communities. And I love the fact that, it's like you're saying, it takes just one person to stand up and say, actually, I want to do this, and I'm going to give it back. And that for me is astounding and amazing, and inshallah may many, many more people follow in your footsteps as well. When did a Nyota Collection start?
Okay, this baby started in 2015. The official way we had more community development, and I decided that I want Nyota Collections to be a social enterprise.
Yes.
And then I had a friend of mine. We weren't really friends. Funny enough, she was my #1 customer, and she always backed me up. Shakira Mamulifesuhume.
Oh, then we love Shakira.
She became my business partner into this. She's more of my support. She calms me down, and gives me balance in everything. And because we're on the same par in our journeys, it's easy for us to sail through this together, especially in community development. The thing is, in our communities, I had my challenges after embracing Islam, being a revet and everything. There was so much seclusion and everything, and it was frustrating for me in terms, I come from Lesotho originally. So the racial things and all those nitty things are very foreign to me. So it was something that I really struggled a lot with, and I decided that instead of always trying to prove a point or trying to belong, because it's a very difficult journey. Half the time I have to prove myself twice as much.
Yes.
Being Muslim, first of all, and then being an African Muslim makes it much harder than the business world and everything.
Yes.
So I always have to work twice as much. And
Yes.
it's so hard. But by Allah is the best planner, and with everything, Allah just makes everything flow. Because like I said, I never really planned this. Certain things just come and they fall into place. Sometimes I don't understand how.
Yes.
But half the time I want to give up. And I take about a month and I'm like, you know what, I'm not doing this to myself. I'm going to look for a job and go back. And my mom would be, don't waste people's time because you're going to work 3 months and then leave it. So just stay there.
Your mom's a wise woman. She knows where your heart is focused.
She knows where my heart is.
Aishah, you mentioned now about the sense of belonging and how difficult it is as not just a Muslim woman, but an African Muslim woman. And I think many people don't understand how tough it is. I think we take it for granted because we see women around us and we don't understand how difficult every woman's journey is. Can we explore that a little bit? Tell me what it's been like for you in terms of what you've got back and what you want people to know.
I think people take what you give. Our energies also always affect certain things. When I embraced, I had a different perception or expectations when I came to Islam. But as I went through struggle and half the time like, do I really want to be Muslim? But at the end, I realized I love this religion and Allah knows why I'm in this situation. But I learned that you need to give more of yourself for people to accept you. We all have same journeys as women, whether we're Muslim, we're non-Muslim, Indian, Black, Asian, and all that. Our journeys are all the same. But half the time, we're always looking at the negative of the other person. So I went through that. I'm going to give the other person an excuse all the time. Why are you being mean to me? You probably had a bad morning. It's not directed to me. Because half the time, then I'm going to leave Islam because of somebody's moment with me and what happened with that. So the belonging for me was, instead of all these divisions that we make, can't we just have a unit? It's tough, but it's a consistent journey that needs to grow and needs to grow with communities.
Absolutely.
And as you go to different communities, you meet different people. Obviously, not everybody will like you and you won't like everybody, but how you become civil with each other, and that's it. You don't have to be friendly or everything. So we have all these expectations that, oh, I'm Muslim, now I have to smile. Yes, you have to smile, but now you can't always be on a hype. I might have had a bad morning.
Yes.
Then a Muslim sister is supposed to give an exception for me and make an excuse for me all the time. And I think that's one thing that we miss in growing, that a person might not be angry at you. They might be going through their own journeys and issues through that.
Oh, that's so beautifully put. And I think a lesson that many of us, actually all of us, need to learn on a regular basis about making excuses for other people, especially for fellow Muslims, about behavior, about anything that we see. I think we're so busy on this judgment all the time that we forget that we need to make excuses. Stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to be continuing our conversation with Aishah about the Nyota collection, what they've done so far and where they're heading to. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We will announce the winner of the last 500 Rand voucher before the end of the show. So don't forget to call in and to speak to our producers. You can win a 500 Rand voucher to Pizza Del Forno in Killarney. Sitting in my studio with me for the last segment is continuing the conversation with Aishah Bibi Dimpho, who is the founder of Nyota Collections, not just a corporate space, not just a business, but Aishah has taken something that she believes in, but also used that space to empower other women in the area, to empower women in her community. So she takes items that they are making, whether it's clothing or jewelry or fabrics, and she literally brings that back into other spaces and allows us access to that. You have to follow her pages. She's absolutely fabulous and phenomenal, and get in touch with her and find out how you can help and make sure these networkings continue. We spoke about what it's like being a Muslim woman, what it's like being an African Muslim woman, and how difficult that journey always is, and how we as fellow Muslims need to constantly make excuses, always look for the best in others, and help each other along this journey as well. Aishah, we spoke about we further spoke about the Nyota Collections becoming a community networking to be able to give back to the community and being a foundation that allows people to grow around it. You've had, I mean, I've only got to know you in a short space of time where we spoke about projects that you were doing. Tell us about the last event that you had.
Sure. Okay, the last event that I had was a collaboration between Nyota Collections Itv and Focus in Solar by Amina B. Haneka. She's from Cape Town. It was actually our very first that we actually brought somebody up to Pretoria to host such an amazing and humbling session, because it really rooted everyone that was there. And the one thing that I loved about this was it was through unity and the diversity. Yes. That for me is my passion. It's the passion for Nyota to be the shining light. By the way, Nyota means star in Swahili.
Oh, I love it.
So it's that unity in Islam has always been there. But because of people's agendas and issues, we always forget that even before the corporate worlds had their taglines of diversity and unity. I actually read a quote by, I think it's Tariq Ramadan. It says the universality of Islam is not a uniformity. It is unity with diversity.
Oh, that is beautifully put.
So when you go through that, you always, being a revered Muslim, I also want my non-Muslim friends to come into my space and love what I do with their own different faiths and everything, but come into a space where they understand why I'm in this and why I say I'm Muslim, and meet other Muslim women as well. And it's been really, truly amazing, because with Nyota Collections, we have pop-up markets that we have on a monthly basis at the Rasuli Center in Centurion, yes, which is also a very good space. And would love to thank the sponsors, the Meaningful Change NGO, because they sponsor the venue for us.
Fantastic.
Because the community center has that aspect of community, of love and unity. So having people there as diverse as they are, it's so humbling, and seeing the work of Allah. The Focus in Salah workshop was on the day everything that could go wrong went wrong. The venue, dilemmas and everything. And I had to change venue last minute. But as I was sitting there, I was like, this is my last event. I'm not doing this anymore. I am not. But it turned out so beautifully. I was so emotional about that. Being there in a room full of women, and there was no Indian, no black, no social statuses or anything. We were all there with one vision and Fantastic. One Allah. That was it. And it was so humbling to be in that space. And for me, that was, Ya Allah, you did this. It was not because of me. And Amina B always tells me, Aishah, always remember you're near. What yes. you're doing for Allah, not for you, for yourself, and Allah will grow that from you.
That is so, so beautifully put. And I love how you said unity is universality with a difference, that we can embrace each other's differences, but also be able to come together. What are the plans for Nyota Collection going forward? What are your plans in terms of what the foundation wants to do, what you want to see happen in your communities?
It's so difficult because I don't know, all of a sudden Allah has opened these doors for me that I don't even know. It's so overwhelming, because now I get called from people, we want to do a collaboration with this, which Nyota Collections is a root of collaborations, because it's important in terms of networking and meeting other networks of people and doing one. I've went to Durban where we met yes. officially, and as much as Fatima Asmal doesn't know this, but she is my mentor.
She's amazing.
She is amazing, and she doesn't know this, but I'd love her to know that she pushed us for this. What I saw when I was in Durban is nothing beyond what I've seen in Gauteng and everything. The unity that the ladies had.
Yes. There was a different magic at that event.
It was a different magic. Everybody blended in. And as we were there, and people were like, we're all so colorful and everything.
Yes.
But I felt, yes, I am Muslim, I am African, and I love color. Can I just yes. embrace myself with all this color? But the atmosphere there brought back such a change. When I came back with Shaki, we were like, you know what? Fatima has done such a phenomenal thing for us. And as much as she's not aware, and I'm sure she doubts herself most of the time, but she was the brains from us having the confidence to move forward and saying, you know what, we're not giving up no matter how difficult it is. This is what we want, and we're doing this as a social enterprise. Yes, there will be a side where we have the pop-up markets as for yes. business, but the pop-up markets are also to fund the social programs, and we're hoping that communities can come in and join with us, as long as Muslims, is not forgetting that we all, we have non-Muslim families and would love them to be in our world,
yes.
And not say, oh, they're kuffars or they're this, but would love them to be in our space and embraces as well. So moving forward, we're looking forward to more collaborations, inshallah, and hoping to grow further, but we're more about empowering the youth. Mm-hmm. And the woman, yes, maybe I am feminist, but I'm raising 3 boys. So I need to consider that as well, because half the time we're empowering women and we forget the men. And I always look, okay, now I'm busy, women, there's girls, this, and I've got these 3 boys that won't be empowered and will have to marry empowered girls. And it's just not going to blend in. We need to have a balance in life and empower the boys as much as we empower the girls.
Yes, yes, because they are going to be phenomenal husbands to beautifully strong women. And I think when we look at the history of Islam, that's exactly who we are, and that's where it comes from.
So we've lost the plot.
Yes.
So we're always making the balance of empowering women. We need to empower and have a balance where we'll have united families, not where the other one will feel belittled because the woman is more strong. Because women become so strong and empowering. Sometimes half the time I ask myself, how does this man take up with so much that I do? Because I struggle to find balance as well in everything that I do, but I am so blessed to have such an amazing husband who is always by my side and everything. Though I want to kill him half the time.
That's okay, that's okay, we all get there. But I think, I always say it takes a very strong man to be able to allow his wife, or to, not to allow, let me rephrase it. It takes a very strong man to allow a woman to be in her space and to be who she is. And I think that it doesn't mean it's weakness, it means it's strength.
Strength, true.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Aishah, you speak so much, and when I listen to you, I feel like I just want to keep talking to you, because the wisdom in which you talk about unity, you speak about so many things that I just want to go back and touch on. When you speak about many families who have other family members, extended family members that may not be Muslim, and we forget how much that impacts on them, and needing the sense of family and community and a sense of belonging. And I love the fact that you talk about bridging these divides, and I think you're spot on, and I completely agree with you regarding Fatima Asmal. And this was the Ilm SA conference that we all met in August this year. Yes. And it's exactly as Aishah describes it. It's a space that you go into, and it was my first time that I attended. I don't know if it was yours. It was yours as well. Yes. And we just... It was such an easy space to be in, and literally in that space, it was the most colorful space. Women looked fabulous, but it was a space where you were just a Muslim woman, and there was nobody saw anything. You were literally connecting with people based on things that you had in common, memories that you shared, whether it was your children. It was just a fabulous space for Muslim women. And you're right, I don't think Fatima and Azra truly understand the gift that they've given to Muslim women around the world. And I say around the world because I think it's exactly that.
They're amazing. They're doing such a great job, and it would be nice for our Muslim kids to have people that they look forward to, like role models. Our kids don't have role models. So if there's all these divisions, then our kids won't have a role model that they believe in and look up to, because now they don't enjoy Islam because of certain things.
That's it. Aishah, how do we, as people that are watching, I know we are getting to the end of the show, but how are we able to access what Nyota Collections is doing? How do we access work that is being done in the community? And for people who are saying, you know what, I actually want to get involved, I want to give back, and I want to collaborate, how do we do that?
How do they find you? I need to stop saying Nyota as a baby, because this baby needs to grow. I am always limiting myself because of the fears maybe that I have. I'm such a perfectionist that I fear failure, but then ultimately all the time Allah always reminds me that I am the best of planners. And I've realized that with hardship comes ease, because all the time, you can't believe my car broke down yesterday, and I was stressed about coming here. Everything just went wrong, but everything always happens for a reason, because I made it, and you get to meet these people that recognize you and do that. And I would love Nyota to grow forward. And unfortunately, we don't have, unfortunately or fortunately, because as growth comes into 2018, we need to grow and have an official website where we'll have a page and people would share information and all the events that we're doing. But currently, we're just on Facebook as Nyota Collections, and Instagram Nyota_Collections. And they can also follow my personal one is Dimpho Aishah as well.
Perfect. And we'll tag you as well so that people have access to you. It's such a blessing to have you in our studio and in our space. And I think I have no doubt that what Fatima and Azra have done in Durban, I have no doubt you and Shakira will be doing very much the same thing here. And we look very forward to being a part of these community efforts and growing communities and being able to have those safe spaces for women, not just for our daughters, but that we can teach our sons at the same time as well. So shukran so much for joining us, and we look forward to following your journey.
Jazakallah so much for having me. I'm so humbled and honored to be here.
It's always so refreshing to be around, to be in spaces where women are so dynamic and so strong, and that we can learn so much from. There's no doubt we will be having Aishah back in our studio again, because there were so many things that she touched on that I just know are full-on conversations for another show completely. But we're sitting here, and she is a woman truly of wisdom, and a woman who is willing to bridge gaps, and a woman who is doing so much, not willing to, but doing so much within the communities and allowing women into safe spaces. Look out for her, look out for the work they're doing, and we look forward to collaborating with them much more on many more future projects. Shukran so much for joining us on air. It's been a pleasure to be back in the studio and to be chatting to you. And for those of you that won the vouchers to Pizza Del Forno, I'll be seeing you there. Look forward to the nachos pizza. It's absolutely fantastic. I look forward to seeing you very soon. Same time, same place, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.